Hi everyone, welcome to the session of linear IC applications. In today's session, I am going to give the lecture on monostable multivibrator using IC555 and phase law full loop. So first of all, what is monostable multivibrator? Already we know monostable multivibrator depending on that means by using some transistors. So here we are designing the monostable multivibrator using 555 diamond. So as the name specifies, the monostable multivibrator has only one stable state and the other state is unstable state. So that means when the trigger input is applied, a pulse is produced at the output and returned back to the stable state after some time interval. So that means it consists of only a single stable state and the other state is unstable state. So, in order to design a monostable multivibrator by using a 555 timer, we require two components. So that is one is resistor, another one is capacitor. So the output of the output of 555 timer, that is monostable multivibrator, uh, time duration depends on the components. So that is R and C. That means mainly the output waveform of monostable multivibrator, the pulse duration of output waveform depends on the resistor and the capacitor. So here we have the schematic representation of monostable multivibrator. This is the schematic representation of 555 timer. Just we are connecting the resistor and the capacitor externally to the 555 timer. So in order to design the monostable multivibrator, we should connect the resistor and the capacitor, and depending on the values of resistors and the capacitor, we can get the output waveform pulse duration. That means the pulse width of the output waveform depends on the values of R and C. So here we have the monostable multivibrator schematic representation, and coming to the connections. So here we have the details of connections. So here the pin 1 is connected to ground and pin 8 is connected to the supply voltage. So pin 1 is connected to ground and pin 8 is connected to the supply voltage, that is DC supply voltage. And next output is taken at pin 3, and to avoid the false triggering, to avoid the accidental reset of the circuit, pin 4 is connected to the VCC. So here pin 4 is connected to the supply voltage VCC in order to eliminate the false trigger. Next pin 5, which is control voltage input, should be connected to ground when not in use. So already we have studied if pin 5 is not used. So that means if any input is not given to the pin 5, then that will be connected to the ground by using some capacitance. So that is equal to 0.01 microfarad. So to filter the noise, we are connecting the pin 5 to the ground terminal by using the capacitance. So 0.05015 capacitance is used to connect the pin 5 terminal to ground. So that is about the connections of monostable multivibrator. And coming to the operation, so monostable multivibrator or monostable mode is also called as one-shot multivibrator or one-shot pulse generator. So just we are giving some negative triggering pulse in order to start the operation. So the sequence of events or the operation starts when a negative trigger pulse is applied to the trigger comparator. So when the trigger comparator senses that negative pulse, that means when the comparator senses that negative going trigger pulse, then the operation starts. That means it sets the flip-flop by using that triggering pulse. So here we have the functional diagram of IC555. So already we know IC555 internally consists of mainly the voltage divider network. So here this divider network is voltage divider network. Here we are applying the DC voltage as VCC. This voltage is divided between these three resistances equal. So that means here we have the voltage of 1 by 3 VCC, and here at this point we have the voltage of 2 by 3 VCC. So here we have the 2 by 3 VCC voltage, here we have the 1 by 3 VCC voltage because of the supply voltage which we are applying to the voltage divider network. And we are taking 3 5 kilo ohms resistances That means we are taking equal resistances. Next, we have two comparators, comparator 1 and comparator 2. So as we know, so if the input voltage at the non-inverting comparator is more compared to the input voltage at the inverting comparator, then the output of the comparator will be plus V7 or logic 1. If the output of the if the input of the non-inverting comparator is less compared to the input of the inverting comparator, then the output of the comparator becomes minus V7, that is logic 0. So that is the comparison operation performed at the comparators. Next, we are using some RS flip-flop, and we have an inverter inversion operation performed, as well as amplification is also performed at this block. And we have two transistors internally, but we have externally we have only one transistor here. And this is the schematic representation of 555 timer. And in order to act the 555 timer as a monostable multivibrator, just here we are connecting two components, R and C. R and C. So R is connected to the pin 8 and C is connected to ground. That means R and C connected as shown in this figure. R is connected to pin 8 or pin 4 and C is connected to ground, obviously. So here we have the discharge pin, 7th pin as the discharge pin. This pin is used to discharge the, that means the capacitor is discharged by using this pin or this terminal. Next, here we have some threshold voltage. That means the voltage at pin 6 is known as threshold voltage. And we have some control voltage here. Pin 5 voltage is known as control voltage. And the 8th pin is plus VCC. First pin is ground pin. Second pin is the trigger input. So here we are giving some negative trigger pulse in order to start the operation. So here this pin represents the negative trigger pulse. Next, trigger input pulse. So third pin is the output pin. Here we should take some output from the 555 timer. And the fourth pin is reset pin. Here the fourth pin is obviously connected to 8th pin internally. So in order to avoid some fast triggering. So that is about the functional diagram of IC 555. Coming to the operation. So initially the flip-flop is reset. So initially we are assuming the flip-flop is in reset condition. This will allow the discharge of the transistor to go to the saturation, and the capacitor C, which is connected to the collector of the transistor, is provided with the discharge current. Hence the capacitor discharges completely and the voltage across it is 0, and the output pin 3 is also 0, so that is low. So consider at the initial stage the flip-flop is in reset mode. So if it is in reset mode, then the output of the flip-flop is 0, logic 0, and we have some Q bar as 1. If Q is 0, Q bar becomes 1. If Q bar becomes 1, the output of inverter becomes 0. That means the output is 0. When Q bar becomes 1, that is connected to the transistor base. So that means the transistor will be on. The transistor will be in on condition. So whenever the transistor is on, here we have the path. Here we have the path. That means the path is connected whenever the transistor is on. That means the capacitor is connected to the transistor. So whenever the capacitor connected to the transistor is on, the capacitor discharges. That means the capacitor voltage becomes 0, because obviously the transistor is connected to the capacitor. That means these two terminals are ground terminals, and this terminal is connected to the capacitor. So that's why the capacitor voltage becomes 0. Capacitor voltage becomes 0 whenever the transistor is on, as well as the output is low. So this is the condition when the flip-flop is in reset. So next, when the negative trigger pulse applied, so that means when a negative going trigger pulse input is applied to the trigger comparator, that is comparator 2, it is compared with the reference voltage, that is of 1/3 VCC. So the output remains low until the trigger input is greater than the reference voltage. So the moment when the trigger voltage goes below 1/3 VCC, the output of the comparator goes high, and this will set the flip-flop. Hence the output at pin 3 will become high. So at the same time, the discharge of the transistor is turned off and the capacitor C will begin to charge and the voltage across it is rises exponentially. So this is nothing but the threshold voltage at pin 6. So here we have, whenever we are applying some negative trigger pulse to second pin, so that means this voltage is applied to the inverting terminal of comparator. So whenever already we have the voltage at the non-inverting terminal of comparator as 1 by 3 VCC. So here we are applying some negative trigger pulse. So whenever we are applying some negative trigger pulse, the voltage at this point is less than the 1 by 3 volt, 1 by 3 VCC of voltage. If the voltage at this point is less than 1 by 3 VCC, then comparison takes place because the voltage at this point is 1 by 3 VCC, the voltage at this point is less than 1 by 3 VCC. So the voltage at the non-inverting terminal is greater than the voltage at the inverting terminal. So comparison takes place until that condition, the that means the comparator output will be low. So whenever it crosses, that means whenever the non-inverting terminal voltage is greater than the inverting terminal voltage, the output of the comparator becomes high. That means it sets the flip-flop. So if set is 1, the output of the flip-flop will be high. That is Q becomes 1. If Q is 1, Q bar is 0. Q bar 0 means output is 1. Q bar 0 means output is 1 because here we are using inverter. So if it is 0, it is connected to the base terminal of transistor. So if it is 0 means transistor will be off. Transistor will be off. So whenever the transistor is off, this path will be removed. So this path will be removed and the capacitor charges towards VCC through the resistance R. The capacitor starts charging towards VCC through the resistance R. So whenever the capacitor charges, that means while charging, the moment when the capacitor voltage is greater than 2 by 3 VCC. The moment when the capacitor voltage is greater than 2 by 3 VCC, then already at comparator 1 for the inverting terminal, we have the voltage of 2 by 3 VCC. So at the non-inverting terminal, when the capacitor voltage is greater than the 2 by 3 VCC, here we have the voltage, more voltage compared to the voltage at the inverting terminal. Here we have the voltage greater than 2 by 3 VCC. Here we have the voltage 2 by 3 VCC. That means the voltage at the non-inverting terminal is greater than the voltage at the inverting terminal. And the output will be plus V7. That means the output of the comparator 1 will be high. So if it is high, it resets the flip-flop. If flip-flop resets, then the output of the flip-flop will be 0. If it is 0, Q bar will be 1. If Q bar is 1, the output will be 0. So if it is 1, then it will also switch on the transistor. So the transistor will be on and that is connected to the capacitor. And the capacitor suddenly drops to the ground potential, that is 0. The capacitor voltage becomes 0 and the cycle continues. So this is the operation of our functional diagram of IC 555. So here we have the voltages. Now these are the points which I have explained previous. So here we have three waveforms. First one is trigger input. Second one is output waveform. Third one is capacitor voltage. So here we are applying some negative going trigger pulse, and by the application of trigger pulse, the operation starts. So here we have one stable state and one unstable state. And next, depending on the capacitor charging and discharging, we can get the output wave. When the capacitor charges, output will be high. When the capacitor discharges, that means when the capacitor drops to 0, then the output will be low. So here we have the waveform, and the pulse duration of output waveform is represented as Tp, small tp or small t. So the capacitor charges until the point. So that is 2 by 3 VCC. Whenever it crosses, then the flip-flop resets, so that the output will be 0. So this is the charging path of capacitor. This is the sudden drop of capacitor voltage. So here are the points which I have already explained. So this is Whenever that means first we are considering the flip-flop is in reset condition, then the transistor is in that means that transistor is in saturation mode, that is the transistor is on. Whenever the transistor is on, the capacitor is connected to ground potential, and next hence the capacitor discharges completely to 0 volts. And when the negative trigger pulse is applied, whenever we are applying some negative trigger pulse, then the comparator 2 at the comparator we have the comparison. That means the comparison takes place between 1 by 3 VCC and the negative going trigger pulse, which is less than 1 by 3 VCC, and the output of the comparator 2 will be high and it sets the flip flop. So if the flip flop is set, the output will be high and the Q bar will be 0 and the inverter output will be high. That means the total output will be high. At the same time, the discharge of the transistor is turned off. That means the transistor is in off condition, and the capacitor will begin to charge towards the VCC by using the resistor. So whenever the capacitor charging, when the capacitor voltage crosses 2 by 3 VCC, so the comparison takes place at comparator 1. So whenever it crosses 2 by 3 VCC, comparator 1 output will be high and it resets the flip-flop. Whenever it resets the flip-flop, the output will be 0 and the Q bar will be 1, and finally we can get the output at pin 3 as high. So this is the comparison operation performed at the comparator 1. Next, the instance at which the threshold voltage becomes more than the reference voltage, the output of the comparator 1 goes high. So the output of pin 3 will remain high until the voltage across the capacitor reaches 2 by 3 VCC. Whenever the capacitor voltage crosses 2 by 3 VCC, then the comparator output will be high. That means comparator 1 output will be high and it resets the flip flop, and we can get some logic 0 at the output of flip flop, and we can get some complementary version, that is Q bar as 1, and the output will be 0. Output will be logic 0, and hence it can be noted that the output at pin 3 is low at start. When the trigger becomes less than 1 by 3 VCC, the output at pin 3 goes high. So when the threshold voltage is greater than 2 by 3 VCC. So a rectangular pulse is produced at the output, and the time for which the output stays high or the width of the rectangular pulse is controlled by the timing circuit. That is, the width of the pulse output waveform depends on the timing circuit, that is RNC values. So these are the output waveforms which we can get from the 555 timer as the monostable multivibrator. So next, pulse width derivation. So in order to derive the pulse width of the output waveform of monostable multivibrator, so we know the voltage across the capacitor C rises exponentially. The voltage across the capacitor C rises exponentially. Hence, the equation for the capacitor voltage is given by Vc is equal to Vcc into 1 minus e power minus t by Rc. Already we know the equation, fundamental equation, in order to find out the capacitor voltage. So that is Vc is equal to Vcc into 1 minus e power minus t by Rc. When the capacitor voltage is 2 by 3 Vcc. When the capacitor voltage is 2 by 3 Vcc, so then the capacitor voltage, the voltage across the capacitor becomes 2 by 3 Vcc is equal to Vcc into 1 minus e power minus t by Rc. That is, Vc is equal to 2 by 3 Vcc. So that is, if you substitute that value, if you simplify, then 2 by 3, we can get 2 by 3 is equal to 1 minus e power minus t by Rc. So that is e power minus t by Rc is equal to 1 by 3. If you simplify the equation, then we can get t is equal to 1.09 TRC, 1.09 Rc. So that implies t is approximately equal to 1.1 Rc. So the pulse width of output waveform or rectangular pulse is equal to 1.1 Rc. So this is the pulse width of output waveform, that is equal to 1.1 Rc. So from this equation we can say that the pulse width of rectangular pulse or output waveform depends on the R and C values of the circuit. So next one is phase locked loop. In short form, we can also call it as PLL. So PLL is one of the linear circuits or linear systems. Next, that means it can be used in linear systems. So it is useful in communication systems such as radars, satellites, FMs, etc. So PLL mainly consists of four blocks. Phase detector, low pass filter, that is active low pass filter, error amplifier, and VCO, that is voltage controlled oscillator. These are the four blocks which we have in PLL. So this is the block diagram of PLL. Mainly this PLL consists of phase detector, low pass filter, error amplifier, and VCO. Here we are applying some input with the voltage of Vs, and the input voltage frequency is Fs, and VCO internally has some frequency. The VCO voltage is represented as V0 and the frequency as F0. So here the output of phase detector is applied as input to the active filter, as well as the output of filter, active low pass filter, is applied as input to the VCO. So the working of the operation of PLL is, first the phase detector produces a DC voltage. Whenever you are applying some input to the phase detector produces a DC voltage which is proportional to the phase difference between the input signals having frequencies Fin and Fout. So we are applying two inputs for the phase detector. One is input signal, which is having the that means the frequency of input signal is Fs, and we are applying one more signal, that is V0, having the frequency F0. So the phase detector produces, or the output of the phase detector is proportional to the phase difference between the input signal having frequency Fin and the feedback signal having the frequency F0 or F out. So a phase detector acts as a multiplier and it produces two frequency components at its output. One is sum of the frequencies, another one is difference of frequencies. So it acts as a multiplier. It produces sum and difference frequencies at the output of a phase detector. So that is, we can get some Fin plus Fout and Fin minus Fout. So it produces sum of the frequencies as well as difference of the frequencies. Next, the output of the phase detector is applied to the low pass filter. The low pass filter only passes the lower frequencies. That means it eliminating the higher frequency component present in the output of the phase detector, and it is also amplifies the signal. So at the phase detector output we have sum and difference frequency components. The sum frequency component, that means higher frequency component, will be eliminated by the low pass filter, and the lower frequency or the difference frequency component will be amplified by the low pass filter, and it is passed to the error amplifier. So the amplification is performed at the error amplifier. And next, the amplifier output is again passed to the VC, that is voltage controlled oscillator. Voltage controlled oscillator. So a VCO produces a signal having a certain frequency when there is no input signal applied. So even though there is no input signal, we have a frequency, certain frequency at VCO. So this frequency can be shifted to either side by applying the DC voltage to it. So by the application of DC voltage to the VCO, we can shift the frequency to either side. So therefore, the frequency deviation is directly proportional to the DC voltage present at the output of the error amplifier. So the output of the error amplifier which we are applying to the VCO is used to shift the frequency. That means the frequency deviation is directly proportional to the DC voltage which we are applying to the VCO. So the above operations takes place until the VCO frequency equal to the input signal frequency. So this operation is performed until the VCO frequency is equal to the input signal frequency. Based on the application, type of application, we can use either the output of active low pass filter or output of VCO. So PLLs are used in many applications such as FM demodulators and the clock generators. These are some applications of PLL. And we have the particular frequency at the VCO. In order to find out that frequency, that means what is the frequency of VCO, we should find out by using the formula, that is Fout is equal to 0.25 RV into C. CV. So this is the formula which we are using in order to find out the frequency of VCO. So where RV is the external resistor that is connected to the pin number 8. RV, we are connecting some external resistor and the capacitor. So that resistor and the capacitor decides the frequency of VCO. So that is F0 is equal to 0.2 RP into CV. By choosing the proper values of RV and CV, we can fix the F0 of that. We can fix the VCO frequency. So mainly PLL operates in 3 modes. One is free running mode, another one is capture mode, another one is lock. Free running mode, capture mode, and lock mode. So initially PLL operates in free running mode. Initially, PLL operates in free running mode. Free running mode means when no input signal is applied to the PLL. When an input signal having some frequency is applied to the PLL, then the output signal frequency of VCO will start change. So, when no input signal is applied, then the PLL operates in free running mode. When the input signal is applied, then the output signal frequency of VCO will start change. And at this stage, the PLL is said to be in operating in the capture mode. That means when the VCO starts change, when the VCO frequency starts change, then the PLL is said to be in capture mode. And finally the lock mode. So the output signal frequency of VCO will change continuously until it is equal to the input signal frequency. So whenever the VCO frequency is equal to the input signal frequency, then the PLL is said to be in lock mode. When the VCO frequency is equal to the input signal frequency, then the PLL is in lock. So here we have 3 modes: free running mode, capture mode, and lock mode. Free running mode means when no input signal is applied to the PLL, then the PLL is said to be in free running mode. So when the input signal is applied, the VCO frequency will start change. So that means at this stage the PLL is said to be operating in capture mode. And next, the output signal of frequency of VCO will change continuously until the frequency of VCO is equal to the input signal frequency. Whenever the frequency is equal, that means VCO frequency is equal to the input signal frequency, then the PLL is said to be in lock. So that is about PLL. So let's recap. So here we have, so first one, we can also design a monostable multivibrator using a 555 timer. So monostable multivibrator means it has only one stable state. Whenever the trigger is applied, a pulse is produced at the output and returned back to the stable state after some time interval. So it has one stable state and the other state is unstable state. So in order to design the monostable multivibrator, we require 2 components, R and C. By connecting these 2 components externally to the stabilified timer, we can design the monostable multivibrator. So this figure represents the schematic representation of monostable multivibrator by using the stabilified timer. And the connections here are one terminal, pin 1 is connected to ground, pin 8 is connected to VCC. If pin 4 is not used to reset, then pin 4 is obviously connected to VCC or pin 8 in order to eliminate the false trigger. And next, pin 5 is connected to ground by using some capacitance 0.01 microfarad here in order to eliminate some noise problem. So these are the main connections. And next, we are applying some negative trigger pulse in order to start the operation. So this is the operation slides, that is monostable mode or monostable multivibrator is also called as one-shot multivibrator. Whenever we are applying some negative trigger pulse, then the operation starts. This is the functional diagram of IC555 and it has mainly voltage divider, 2 comparators, SR, flip-flop, inverter, and external 2 components, R and C. And we have 2 transistors also. Next, this is the external transistor. We have internal transistor also, that is not shown here. So whenever you are applying some at the initial condition, let us assume the flip-flop is in reset mode. If it is in reset mode, the output is 0 and the Q bar is 1. If Q bar is 1, output is 0, because here we are using inverter. If it is 1, then it is also connected to the transistor. Transistor will be on. If transistor will be on, the capacitor discharges or the capacitor drops to 0 volts or to ground potential. Next, whenever you are applying some negative trigger pulse to the comparator 2, already we have the voltage of 1 by 3 VCC at the non-inverting terminal of comparator 2. If that negative trigger pulse voltage is less than 1 by 3 VCC, then the comparison takes place. That means here it is more compared to the inverting terminal voltage. Then output of the comparator becomes high and it sets the flip-flop. If it is set, the output will be high. Q is 1, Q bar is 0, and output will be 1. If Q bar is 0, the transistor will be off. If it is off, then the capacitor is free from the transistor path and it starts charging towards VCC by using the resistance R. Whenever it starts charging, while charging, whenever it crosses the voltage that is 2 by 3 VCC, while charging, when the moment the capacitor crosses 2 by 3 VCC, then the output of the comparator 1 becomes high, because here we have some greater than 2 by 3 VCC voltage, here we have some 2 by 3 VCC voltage. So the voltage at this terminal is high compared to this voltage, so we can get some plus reset, that is logic 1. If it is 1, it resets the flip-flop. If reset is 1, then output will be 0, Q bar is 1, and again the output will be 0. If Q bar is 1, transistor will be on. If it is on, then it is connected to the capacitor. Capacitor start discharge. Now capacitor starts capacitor starts to drop to 0 volts. So this is the operation which I have explained. These are the output waveforms. This is the trigger input, negative going trigger pulse, and this is the output waveform. This is the capacitor. When the capacitor is charging, we have the higher voltage, logic 1 at the output. When the capacitor discharges, we can get some logic 0 at the output. This is the TP, that is time period or pulse width of output waveform. In order to derive the pulse width, we are using mainly the capacitor voltage. Already we know the capacitor voltage mathematical equation VC is equal to VCC into 1 minus e power minus t by RC. So here the capacitor voltage is 2 by 3 VCC from this figure. Substitute that value. If we simplify this equation, then we can get T is equal to 1.1 RC. The pulse width of rectangular pulse or output pulse is 1 by 1.1 RC. Mainly the pulse width depends on the resistor components of resistors and capacitor. Next one is phased output loop. It is one of the vital blocks in linear systems, and it is used in main communication systems like radars, satellites, and FMs. Mainly a PLL consists of 4 blocks: phase detector, active low pass filter, error amplifier, and voltage controlled oscillator. These are the 4 blocks, and mainly the PLL is represented in IC form as IC565. So here we are applying some input with the voltage of Vs and having the frequency Fs. Already VCO has some frequency F0. The voltage from the VCO is represented as V0 here. The output of phase detector is connected to low pass filter. Again, the low pass filter output is connected to VCO by using some error amplifier. So whenever we are applying some input to the phase detector, the output of the phase detector is proportional to the phase difference of these 2 signals, having the frequencies Fs and F0. So that means phase detector acts as a multiplier and it produces the difference of sum and difference of 2 frequencies which we are applying to the phase detector. That means at the output we can get some Fs plus F0 and Fs minus F0. And this signal is applied to the low pass filter. Low pass filter passes the lower frequency component and eliminates the higher frequency component. That is, Fs plus F0 is eliminated by the low pass filter. Only the lower frequency, that is Fs minus F0, is passed by the low pass filter. And next, that is amplified by the error amplifier and it is applied to the VCO. VCO means voltage controlled oscillator. It has some fixed frequency that is represented as F0. This frequency can be shifted to either side by applying the DC voltage from the error amplifier. So this operation continues until the voltage, that means the frequency of VCO is equal to the frequency of Fs. The error voltage, that means the DC voltage applied to the VCO until whenever the frequency of VCO is equal to the frequency of input signal. The operation continues until these two frequencies are equal. So these are the points which I have explained. So next, we have some constant frequency at the VCO that is represented as F0. F0 is equal to 0.25 RV into CV. Where RV is the external resistor which is connected to pin number 8. CV is the external capacitor which is connected to pin number 9. Depending on these components, we can fix the value. We can fix the value of frequency at VC. Next, mainly PLL goes through three modes. That is pre-running mode, capture mode, lock mode. Pre-running mode means whenever you are not applying any input signal, then that mode is known as pre-running mode. PLL is said to be operated in pre-running mode. When input signal is applied, then the VCO's frequency starts to change. This mode is known as capture mode. So at this mode, the PLL is said to be in capture mode. Next, when the output signal frequency of VCO will change continuously until it is equal to the input signal frequency. That means the operation continues until the frequency of VCO is equal to the frequency of input signal. So, whenever the frequency of VCO is equal to the frequency of input signal, then that mode is known as lock mode. So here we have some applications of monostable multivibrator. First application of monostable multivibrator is frequency divider. So when the IC555 is used as a monostable multivibrator, a positive going rectangular pulse is available at the output. When a negative going pulse of short duration is applied at the triggering. That means if you are applying some negative going trigger pulse at the input of the IC555 timer, then we can get some positive going signal at the output of the timer. So if the timing interval is made slightly larger than the time period of the input pulse. So timing interval means here if the product of R and C values is larger than or is greater than the time period of the input pulse, then this device acts as a frequency divider circuit. So in order to add the monostable multivibrator as a frequency divider, we should take the timing interval. That means we should take the product of R and C values slightly larger than the time period of the input pulse. So here we can have some input and output pulse. Here this figure represents the trigger input and this one represents the output pulse. So for the first pulse, that means the circuit will trigger for the first negative going pulse. As a result, output will go high. So for the first pulse, we can get some high output. So here for the first trigger pulse, this is the first trigger pulse, we can get some high output. And whenever the output will remain, that means this interval is that means the timing interval is T. So during this interval, even if a second negative going trigger pulse is applied, the output will not be affected and continues to remain high. So this is the timing interval. So in this interval, if you are applying some negative going trigger pulse, second negative going trigger pulse, this will not affect the output. That means the output still remain in the higher state, because here we are taking the time, that means the product of R and C values is larger than compared to the timing interval. So that's why on the third negative going trigger pulse only, the circuit is re-triggered. So that means there is only one output pulse for every two input pulses. So for every two input pulses, we can get only one output pulse. So that means here the time is doubled, and that means the frequency is divided by 2. So in this manner, we can get the frequency divider circuit by the monostable multivibrator with some modifications. So second application is pulse width modulator. The monostable multivibrator can also act as a pulse width modulator by applying a modulating signal as the control voltage to the pin 5. So normally pin 5 is connected to ground potential by using the capacitance 0.01 microfarad. If you are not applying any input to the fifth pin, Just that will be connected to the ground by using some capacitance, that is 0.01 microfarad. In order to perform a modulation operation, we should apply the modulating signal, or we should apply the signal to the control voltage, that is to fifth pin. So this is the waveform of pulse width modulator output. Here, this is the modulating signal. This signal is applied to pin 5. So this signal or the control signal will modulate the threshold voltage. So as a result, we can get some pulse width modulator output. That means the width of the pulse changes in accordance with the amplitude of the modulating signal. So that means by the addition, that means by the application of modulating signal to pin 5, the 555 timer or the monostable multivibrator can also act as a pulse width modulator. And third one is linear ramp generator. So the monostable multivibrator will also act as a linear ramp generator with the addition of constant current source. That means it can also be used to generate the linear ramp signals by the addition of constant current source. Constant current source means here we are using some current mirror. That means we can use a current mirror consisting of a diode and a PNP transistor. This constant current source is positioned in place of the timing resistor. In place of timing resistor R, we are placing a constant current source. By the that means by the use of constant current source, we can get some linear ramp signal at the output. So here the current or the collector current from the transistor or the constant current source, the current from this transistor or the constant current source will charge the capacitor. That means the charge the capacitor towards VCC. So this is the circuit. Here we are applying some constant current source in place of the resistance. So the discharge of the capacitor is very less compared to the charging time. So as a result, we can get some downward ramp sweep is very much low compared to the upward sweep. So if you are connecting the constant current source to in place of resistor, monostable multivibrator can also be used to generate the linear ramp signal at the output. And fourth one is missing pulse detector. So a PNP transistor is connected across the capacitor, and the input of the trigger pulse is given to the base terminal of the transistor. So as well as pin 2 trigger input of the 555. So here we are using a transistor, that is PNP transistor, across the capacitance C, and the base of the transistor is connected to the trigger input. So if we are placing the transistor in this manner, then this circuit or the monostable multivibrator is used to detect the missing pulse. So how we can detect means here the train of trigger pulses will continuously reset the timing cycle. That means output is always high. If any trigger pulse is missing, the device detects this signal, that means missing pulse, and the output goes low. So for example, when the input is 0, the PNP transistor will be on. So that means if it is on, the capacitor charges towards this voltage. That means the transistor voltage, the capacitor charges to point or clamps to 0.7 volts. So this is the condition when input is 0. If the trigger pulse is applied, then the PNP transistor will be off. The PNP transistor will be off, and next the capacitor will start charging. So if PNP transistor is on, then the capacitor clamps towards the base voltage of transistor, that is 0.7 volts, and the output will be high in that condition, in that situation. So whenever the trigger pulse is applied to the circuit, then the transistor will be off and the capacitor starts charging. So here, if the input trigger pulse goes low again, before the completion of the timing cycle, the voltage across the capacitor falls to 0.7 before reaching the threshold voltage, and the output continues to remain high. So that means if the trigger pulse, if you are applying another trigger pulse, the voltage across the capacitor falls to 0.7 volts before reaching the threshold voltage. Normally, capacitor voltage reaches to threshold voltage, that is 2 by 3 VCC. So in this case, whenever you are applying some negative another pulse, then the capacitor voltage becomes, that means the capacitor voltage clamps to 0.7 volts, and the output continues to remain in high position. If the input trigger signal does not go slow, before the completion of the timing cycle due to a missing pulse, it allows the capacitor to charge to the threshold voltage. So that is, it will charge to 2 by 3 VCC and the output will become low. So if the input pulse does not go slow, then the capacitor charges towards VCC, that is towards the capacitor voltage reaches 2 by 3 VCC. When the capacitor voltage reaches 2 by 3 VCC, then it resets the flip-flop. That means the output will be low. The output will be low. So here we are applying the pulses. Even though we are applying the second pulse, the capacitor voltage does not reaches the, because of this application, because of this trigger pulse, normally the capacitor voltage reaches to 2 by 3 VCC, but in this case the capacitor voltage does not reaches to 2 by 3 VCC because we are applying the, we are adding some transistor across the capacitor, so that's why the capacitor voltage clamps to 0.7 volts. So whenever the pulse is missing, here we have some continuous trigger pulse that is in high position. In this case, the capacitor charges to the voltage of 2 by 3 VCC and the flip-flop resets and the output will be low. So that means here the pulse is missed and the output is low. So if the output is low, then we can identify that there is, that means the pulse is missed. So in this manner, we can detect the missing pulse. So these are the applications of monostable multivibrator. So thank you.